Warning, the following video contains instances of extreme violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi guys, and many thanks for joining me. If you are new here, hi, I'm Kat and I like to talk about crimes, investigations and all sorts of related stuff. Please don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button below. Also make sure you hit the notification bell so you are the first one to know about any new videos I upload. And for my returning subscribers and viewers, I would like to thank you all so much for your continuous support and for all those beautiful messages I keep receiving from you. Thank you. Today I want to talk to you about the case of Aiyana Jones. But before we get started, here is the disclaimer. I do not mean to be disrespectful to anyone I talk about in this video. The video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All the information I collect is from the internet. I compile this information and make a video for you, and from the video you guys are more than welcome to draw your own conclusions. Thank you. Aiyana Monet Stanley-Jones, born on July the 20th, 2002, died on May 16th, 2010. A 7-year-old beautiful African-American girl from Detroit's East Side, America. Aiyana was asleep on her sofa in the downstairs flat of the duplex building in Detroit, her grandmother next to her. In all the silence, Mertilla Jones, the grandmother, hears commotion outside and then suddenly banging and officers shouting at the door, "Police, police, police!" And then bang! A stun grenade is thrown through the front window.
It's the moment 7-year-old Aiyana Stanley-Jones is fatally shot.
Mertilla, scared, she gets down on the floor and realizes Aiyana's blanket is on fire. At the same time, the SWAT team gets inside, but more specifically Joseph Weekly, with his shield and gun pointing straight in the direction of Aiyana's head. Mertilla is trying to get to Aiyana because of the blanket on fire, but suddenly there's a gunshot. Weekly shot Aiyana in the head. Mertilla Jones just witnessed the horrifying killing of her precious little granddaughter. Some horrific images she'll never be able to get out of her head. She saw blood gushing out of Aiyana's mouth as she passed away. I seen the light leave out of her eyes and the blood started gushing out of her mouth and she was dead. Mertilla Jones, Aiyana Stanley-Jones' grandmother. The explosion, the shooting, was filmed by a camera crew for an episode of A&E police reality show called The First 48, and apparently the order for the filming came from the top. Prosecutor Robert Moran told the news that Alison Howard, the reality show producer, sold the footage for $2,500 after the fatal raid, and investigators blamed her for delaying and obstructing the investigation. The footage was not supposed to be seen by a third party whilst the investigation was ongoing. The home on Lily Bridge in Detroit had 2 separate units. Aiyana was staying with her grandmother and others in the lower unit, downstairs if you wish. The raid was supposed to detain Chauncey Owens, the boyfriend of Aiyana's aunt, La Crystal Sanders, both of whom lived in the top unit or upstairs unit of the same building. Chauncey Owens was charged for shooting the 17-year-old Jaron Blake after they got in an argument in front of a party store. Okay, first of all, I think that the reason why Joseph Weekly acted the way he did was to put on a show for the camera, using the flash grenade when it really wasn't necessary. There was no regard for those people inside the building when the SWAT team acted the way they did. I mean, did they even know there's a child inside? Really, for the sake of the child, you should not get into people's houses like that. You're not in a war where it's either you or the enemy. This was hardly a high-profile case. Police officers could have possibly dealt with this arrest. But what were they trying to show? What? Was it done for the cameras? You know what? I'm also wondering about the use of the flash grenade. Did that order come from the top as well? Maybe to give more action to the show, you know. I can see someone over the phone going like, oh, use that grenade as well, because you know viewers will be so hooked on it. It's a reality show in the end. I mean, this is what their actions make me feel. And as far as I understand, these flash grenades are used mostly for hostage rescue. And anyway, I know I asked already, but why was the SWAT team sent to arrest an individual? Does it usually work like that? And also, according to Wikipedia, a stun grenade, also known as a flash grenade, flashbang, thunder flash or sound bomb, is a less lethal explosive device used to temporarily disorient an enemy's senses. It is designed to produce a blinding flash of light of around 7 megacandela and an intensely loud bang of greater than 170 decibels. The flash momentarily activates all photoreceptor cells in the eye, blinding it for approximately 5 seconds. Afterward, victims perceive an after image which impairs their aim. The sheer volume of the detonation also causes temporary deafness in the victim and also disturbs the fluid in the ear, causing a loss of balance. Despite the non-lethal intentions behind the grenade, the resulting concussive blast still has the ability to cause injuries, and the heat created has been known to ignite flammable materials. Joseph Wickley shot Aiyana Jones in the head with his MP5 submachine gun, and he stated, and I quote, "A woman inside grabbed my gun. It fired. The bullet hit a child." End of quote. This is what he said to his sergeant after the shot was fired. Police then arrest Mertilla, the grandmother, take her down to the station, test her for drugs and gunpowder, and obviously after not finding anything, they release her. Mertilla says she was actually trying to reach for her granddaughter when the grenade came through the window, not for the officer's gun. She didn't have any contact with any of the officers. You know, it's so frustrating. It's not enough that Mertilla was scared to death. She also witnessed her granddaughter's shooting, but she's also arrested? What a joke. There's no regard for people's feelings. Nothing at all. Sometimes, you know, police, they don't even treat people like human beings anymore. It's very saddening, and it's also, again I say it, very frustrating to see some police with power thinking of themselves like gods, like they are above everybody else and they can do as they wish because they won't be held responsible. And we've seen it times and times again, and it happens so often. After more than 1 year of internal and federal investigation, on October the 4th, 2011, a grand jury indicts Wickley on involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment with a gun. In his first trial, he admits, and I quote, "It's my gun that shot and killed a 7-year-old girl." End of quote. So he admits that in fact it was his gun that killed Aiyana. Even though his trial was due in October, it was eventually scheduled for June 2013, but resulted in a deadlocked jury. Wayne County Circuit Judge Cynthia Gray Hathaway presided over the case. Aiyana's case would be the longest presiding case that Hathaway had in more than 20 years of being on the bench. In my opinion, the verdict should have been clear. He even admits to it, so I cannot understand why would be the jury deadlocked. I don't get it. He admits that his gun was the one who shot the child. It's simple, in my opinion. But another trial was scheduled for December 2013. However, it actually began in September 2014. He was charged with involuntary manslaughter and negligent firing of a weapon causing death. On the second day of trial, 24th of September 2014, La Crystal Sanders, living on the top floor of the house where Aiyana died, testified. Sanders was Aiyana Jones's paternal aunt, the girlfriend of Chauncey Owens, and the daughter of Mertilla Jones. While Sanders was on the stand, Judge Cynthia Hathaway told her that she was being disrespectful. I'm not sure what disrespectful means, because I haven't been able to find the footage with her testimony, so I'm really not sure. I can't really comment on this. Aiyana's mother, Dominica Stanley, and paternal grandmother, Mertilla, testified, and both had emotional outbursts.
What happens after he shoots the gun?
More cops came rushing the house, and I'm laying there screaming, asking somebody to help my granddaughter, because he just shot her in the head, and he wouldn't even help her. They turned on the light and seen that she had been shot and carried out the house. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Why you come in my house like that? Tell me why you came in my house like that. You killed my grandbaby. You killed her and you try to blame me. You know I never touched you, Mr. Weekly. You know I never touched you. You know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. You wrong. You wrong. She was only 7 years old. She was only a baby, man. She was sleeping, and I told y'all, let me get my granddaughter. And y'all didn't even give me a chance. Why y'all do this to me? I get no sleep. I'm sick. I'm sick as hell. I get no sleep. The flashbacks, I wouldn't wish them on nobody in the world, not even you. I wouldn't wish this on no one in the world that have to watch their 7-year-old granddaughter get their brains blown by the people that are supposed to protect and serve her. You the brain. I watched this short SWAT. You the brain. You the first one in. You the first one in. You the first one in.
After the grandmother's outburst, the judge ordered the jury out of the room, and the grandmother was escorted from the courtroom screaming. Because of Mertilla Jones's outburst, the judge stopped the trial until September 29th. I think, this is my opinion, I think it was only natural that the grandmother reacted the way she did. I'm not sure any other person would react any differently, honestly. She had to stay there, on the chair, on stand, testifying, whilst the Aiyana Jones's killer was right there in front of her. It's not a good sight to be looking at, and quite honestly, her reaction, in my opinion, was more than reasonable and justified. What was not justified was, however, his straight face throughout the whole testimony. I know that your lawyer would advise you not to show any emotions as the accused person, but come on. This guy, he looked like he's made of stone, no emotions whatsoever. And he had this straight face, I can see it even now, I watched the footage. This straight face, and he was looking right into Mertilla's eyes whilst she testified and whilst she had that outburst. And he didn't even blink. There was nothing from him, no emotion, nothing whatsoever. And the SWAT team, in fact, went in the wrong place in that building. They were looking for Chauncey Owens, who stayed in the flat on the top floor. These police officers, they did their surveillance and knew that he lived upstairs, but because they've seen him once going upstairs through the lower floor front door where Aiyana lived, they chose that entry point. Either way, I say it again, in my opinion, it does not justify their actions. It was no need for what they did. And if they did their surveillance, they must have known there are children living there, you know. An innocent 7-year-old child lost their life because some officers assumed Owens would be there. It's not right at all, is it? There was no need to shoot. None whatsoever. And what kind of surveillance did they do that this actually was allowed to happen? Okay, let's go back to the trial. On the 29th of September, Weekly's lawyer asked for a mistrial because of the outburst of Mertilla, saying the jury might be influenced by the emotions, but the judge denied the motion. However, the judge also mentioned that if Mertilla Jones or any other member of the family would have more outbursts, then she will have to declare a mistrial. On October the 3rd, the judge dismissed the involuntary manslaughter charge against Weekly, and on October the 10th, the judge declared the mistrial due to jury deadlock. At Weekly's retrial, it was disclosed that Mertilla's fingerprints were not found on Weekly's gun. Remember what Weekly said to his sergeant, that she actually grabbed the gun? He was lying. He lied, and he still got away with it. Geoffrey Figure, the family's lawyer, said the police fired the shot that struck Aiyana from outside the home, possibly through the open front door. So, this means Joseph Weekly, just like I mentioned, lied that Mertilla took the gun from him. And even so, on January 28, 2015, County Prosecutor Kim Worthy dismissed the last remaining charge against Weekly, the misdemeanor of careless discharge of a firearm causing death. Weekly will not go to a third trial. Not only that, but on April the 2nd, 2015, nearly 5 years following the shooting of Jones, Officer Weekly was returned to active duty as a Detroit police officer. The department decided to withdraw him from active duty shortly after the shooting on May 16, 2010. Weekly was transferred from the Special Response Team to the Criminal Investigation Bureau. Police Chief James Craig stated, and I quote, "He'll be in a limited duty capacity. He won't be in the field." End of quote. Like, that helps a lot, doesn't it? He killed a child and he gets to go back to work. Mertilla Jones, Aiyana's grandmother, gets to go back to a house without her granddaughter in it. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not. This is wrong on so many levels, It just goes to show, in my opinion, that if you are a police officer, not only that, but say, because this case is about a police officer or a SWAT team, whatever, you seem to be above the law. The law doesn't apply to you. If you would have been a different person, I am 100% certain that that person would be in jail. But because it's a police officer, it's a different story. Is he right? No, in my opinion, is wrong. In September 2013, J. Cole released a music video dedicated to Aiyana Jones for his song Crooked Smile, featuring TLC on YouTube. I can't add J. Cole's clip in my video due to copyright issues, but I will leave the link to his video in the description below. It's a very emotional music video and it's very hard to watch. However, it's completely worth it. In May 2016, Black Matters US held a small rally in memory of Jones. Families of people killed by police officers and activists gathered at the feet of the Spirit of Detroit statue in front of the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center in Detroit. On July the 20th, 2016, Detroit police arrested 6 unknown individuals for chaining themselves to a precinct of the Detroit Police Department, their protest honoring Jones. The Detroit chapter of the Black Youth Project 100, BYP 100, and Black Lives Matter Detroit organized a rally on what would have been Aiyana Jones's 14th birthday. Protesters pleaded for the termination of Officer Weekly as he had been selected to co-chair the Detroit Police Department's Committee on Race and Equality. Just imagine that. If I would have been in America, I would definitely have gone to the protest. They were right to protest. They were. Because in my opinion, Officer Weekly killed a human being and got away with it. Where is the punishment? There was no punishment. No, I don't see the punishment. Do you see the punishment? Do you call this right? No, it's not. And grandmother Mertilla Jones said, and I quote, "Accountability needs to be expected from cases like this because cops can't keep killing people and getting away with it." And of course Mertilla Jones is right. How many people are police officers killing and they actually get away with it? They do. How much more is it needed before someone actually, steps in and says enough is enough? Obviously you will have all these movements and all this aggression because the police is aggressive, in my opinion, and when you don't have a choice, you fight back. Because if the legal system doesn't work for you, you have to do something about it, isn't it? It's not right. It's not. You have a legal system and you should rely on it, and that legal system should keep you safe. But in so many cases, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't. Let's go now to Chauncey Owens, who was the target of the raid that killed Aiyana Jones. Owens was sentenced to life in prison without parole for shooting the 17-year-old teen Jerome Blake in 2010. Owens initially entered a plea agreement to get a lesser sentence if he says who gave him the gun. But when he refused to give up a name, his plea was thrown out and he was ordered to trial. Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy charged Charles Jones, the father of Aiyana Jones, with second-degree murder and perjury in Jerome Blake's death, largely based on the testimony of two jailhouse snitches, which the late Judge Richard Scott tried unsuccessfully to bar. So this came from the same judge, Kim, who dismissed the charges for the police officer who killed Aiyana Jones. I don't have any words. Jones was sentenced to 40 to 60 years on the murder charge and 10 to 20 for perjury. On July the 9th, Charles Jones, his attorney Leon Weiss of the Figure Law Firm, and AP Mark Hindelang agreed to a plea deal for Jones in lieu of a new trial ordered by the Michigan Court of Appeals in April 2012. Jones and his family welcomed the deal, in which he pled nolo contendere to manslaughter for a sentence of 10 to 20 years, to be served concurrently with a perjury sentence. After sentencing, on July the 26th, Jones should have time served since 2011 applied to that sentence. Jones's earliest release date would now be in 2021, but his family hopes for time served according to his mother. It's really unbelievable that Joseph Weekly is free after the death of Aiyana Jones. A one-man grand jury composed of then Chief Criminal Judge Timothy Kenny charged Weekly only with involuntary manslaughter and reckless use of a firearm. He walked free after two mistrials declared by Judge Cynthia Gray Hathaway, despite testimony from a firearms expert and others that his gun could not have discharged accidentally. So how much more than this do you need? I don't understand. How much more do you need? During the years after the death of Aiyana Jones, the mainstream media has continued to claim that the child was killed accidentally. However, during one hearing in the Weekly trial, a Wayne County medical examiner testified that the reason for the lack of gunpowder stippling around Aiyana's gunshot wound could have been the result of a direct contact shot. She was shot within seconds of the time a flashbang explosive was tossed into the front window onto the couch where she was sleeping with her grandmother. Independent autopsy results show the bullet entered the top of the child's head as shown in the photo. The Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office later officially accepted the result. So, according to the autopsy result, in my opinion, if I would be trying to analyze it, although I'm no professional, then that gun was not shot accidentally. I think. This is my opinion. I'm not an expert in these cases, I'm not an expert in guns, but yes. So it's either that Weekly targeted her, although I don't think that he was targeting Aiyana Jones, but it might have been, well, the way I see it, he probably confused her with someone else. And because of that blast, maybe he was disoriented as well and he couldn't see clearly anymore. And maybe he saw something which wasn't, if you know what I mean. I'm not trying to justify, because there is no justification for what he did. Especially because he was trying to blame Mertilla Jones for it. He didn't accept responsibility from the beginning. And also, he walked free. So that's why I'm not justifying him at all. I'm trying to think of so many, point of views. But the way I see it, either way, and no matter what happened, he should still be held responsible, which didn't happen. And unfortunately, I don't really think it will happen at any point. On the 2nd of May 2019, the city of Detroit reached an $8.25 million settlement with Aiyana Jones's family. Detroit Corporation Counsel Lawrence Garcia announced the settlement with the family of Aiyana Stanley-Jones 4 days before a civil trial was to begin. Garcia said in a statement, and I quote, "Aiyana's death was a tragic loss for her family and has been a heavy burden on our community. We believe today's settlement is fair because it balances the needs of Aiyana's family and our responsibility for the city's finances. We hope this resolution will provide everyone involved a measure of closure." End of quote. Aiyana's family's attorney, Jeffrey Figer, said the settlement should allow the family, the city, and Weekly to move on from the tragedy. Oh boy, oh boy. This is so annoying. He said the settlement won't provide full justice. The only full justice would be to bring Aiyana back, and I can't do that. End of quote. Unfortunately, the way I see it, and I think everybody sees it the same way, no amount of money will bring Aiyana Jones back. She died at the hands of Joseph Weekly, who is not paying for what he's done. That's why the family, in my opinion, will never get closure. Unless Weekly is in jail, charged for his crimes, they will never get any closure. All the city of Detroit did was to, in fact, put a price on a child's life. A life which is priceless. Rest in peace, Aiyana Jones. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. I will be trying to make more videos with cases like this. If you are interested in something like that, just hit the subscribe button below. Make sure you also hit the notification bell so you are the first one to know about any new videos I upload. Again, many thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.